Good morning, everyone. My name is Malavika. I'm a student of Asia Mercantile and Maritime Academy. This mail reading session is a part of our ongoing education. My topic for today is the ancient fabric that no one knows how to make. So, around 200 years ago, there was a very rare and very high quality fabric known as the Dhaka muslin fabric. This fabric was made in the city of Dhaka under Bangladesh. This fabric is actually made from a rare plant called as Puticurpus. The main characteristic of this fabric was it was has light and has flowing like the wind. So many people prefer this fabric because of its texture and the feel of it. Now there were many types of Dhaka fabric. There were many qualities of Dhaka fabric. The highest quality fabric was known as buff hawa, which meant woven air. This was because the fabric was as light and as soft as air. It was said that this fabric could actually be stored inside a snuff box, which is actually a small box that is used to store tobacco. But by the 20th century, the Dhaka fabric actually disappeared from the earth. Only place that it could be seen were in museums and personal collections. The main characteristic of the Dhaka fabric was actually the thread count. The thread count is actually the number of threads that are going horizontally and vertically on a square inch of fabric. So the Dhaka fabric had around 800 to 1200 thread count. Currently, the fabric we're using now, the normal cotton fabric we're using now, has only 40 to 80 thread count. The reason that a high fabric thread count is considered better is because the more thread count that a fabric has, the more softer it would be and the more longer it will last. So when the fabric actually starts to wear down from usage, because of the high thread count, there's a chance that it will actually stay together longer than the normal fabric. The Dhaka muslin was actually made from a plant called as Puticurpus. This plant was only found along the banks of the Meghna River in Bangladesh. The issue with the plant was the fiber that we got from the plant was very fragile. So if you try to twist it into yarn, it will break apart very easily. The cotton we use right now is from the normal cotton clothes that we wear is actually made from a American cotton plant. That cotton we can easily put into machinery and we can make the fabric from it. But the Dhaka muslin cannot be done in such a way. The plant was so fragile that the local people actually came up with a 16-step process on how to make the fabric. Each step was done in different villages of the Dhaka city. And the whole process actually took around a year to make one piece of fabric. Some of the steps involved was the cotton balls had to be cleaned using the teeth of a fish called a bowl catfish. Then the weaving process, the spinning process was actually done by women in boats in the middle of the river. They usually used to do this during the early morning or late evenings. This was to get the highest humidity level. Otherwise, if the humidity was even a little bit low, the fabric would actually break apart while they were spinning it. Then the weaving process was actually done using the Jamandi weaving procedure, which took almost 6 months to make. So this whole process covered a year to make a simple piece of fabric. This fabric, the Dhaka muslin fabric, was considered an Asian wonder. Many of the European clients, they used to make up rumors saying that this fabric is actually being made underground, or that it was made by fairies and mermaids or even ghosts. During the time when India was colonized by the Britishers, the Dhaka muslin fabric was being sold to Persia, Iraq, Turkey, and the Middle East. But when the Britishers took over India, they wanted to replace the clients of the Dhaka muslin fabric with only clients from Europe and mainly from UK. So at that time, the fabric was being sold for 50 to 400 pounds. If you compare the value to the current rate, that would be around 7,000 to 56,000 pounds. But the British East India Company, they wanted the weavers to sell the fabric at a lower price. So they were pressurizing the weavers to actually make higher amounts of fabric for a cheaper price. They also followed this technique of giving the weavers money firsthand. So they would actually give the money to the weavers first, then they would demand that the weavers provide them with certain quality of fabric. If the weavers were not able to provide the fabric within the time period given, and if it was not up to the conditions or the standards that were set by the Britishers, then the Britishers would demand the weavers give back the money. Because of this, the weavers actually started going into debt and they were being mistreated by the Britishers. The British East India Company also recorded in detail the 16-step process of making this fabric. So there was a textile baron called Samuel Old in Lancashire, England, who actually got his hands on the step process, and the Britishers also had the required machinery to make the fabric. So he combined the process that they had and the machinery, and he made a lower quality fabric. It was actually a muslin fabric, but it was of lower quality because he had used the common cotton plant. Because he was using the common cotton plant, he was able to sell the fabric for a cheaper price. Thus, there was also a reduced price of shipping. So if the Dhaka muslin fabric was being imported from India, there was an extra charge of shipping it from India to England. But because Samuel Oldknow was already in England, he could easily sell it to his customers for a cheaper price because he didn't have to pay the shipping price. Now the weavers, they were already being mistreated. They were going into debt. They were facing poverty. On top of that, they now had a competitor who was actually selling the fabric for a cheaper price. Due to all of these reasons, many of the weavers decided they're not going to continue making this fabric. Some of them started weaving lower quality fabric, such as the normal cotton fabric, while the others turned to farming. Because of this, they actually stopped teaching the younger generations on how to make the fabric. So the knowledge of making this fabric was completely lost. Now Saiful Islam, who is a Bangladeshi, he had actually found an interest in the Dhaka Muslim fabric, and he and his team are actually working towards recreating this fabric. Saiful Islam actually moved to London to work with the company called Dirk. So the Dirk company wanted to create a presentation about this Muslim fabric to a Bangladeshi audience. But since they did not have enough information about it, they deployed Saiful Islam and his team to gather information. During the research, Saiful Islam found out that the Dhaka Muslim fabric is actually in exhibitions all over Europe and England, but not even one piece of fabric is actually found in Bangladesh. He also realized that the Dhaka Muslim fabric, the method of weaving, the process involved, everything was completely lost to the Bangladesh. So the team actually managed to give a proper presentation about the Muslim fabric, and they also managed to commission a movie. And Saiful Islam even wrote a book about the fabric. Now, the main aim of the team was not just to create all these books and movies. They wanted to recreate the Muslim fabric. So they formed an enterprise called as Bengal Muslim to recreate this fabric. What they first did was they managed to get their hands on the dried preserved leaves at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. Using these leaves, they managed to recreate the DNA of the lost plant. This plant, the Futicarpus, was actually considered extinct. So they had to get their hands on the DNA. Then they went to Bangladesh near the Meghna River. Using maps and satellite imaging, they were able to track how the Meghna River actually changed its course. So they managed to find plants that were very similar to the Futicarpus. They found a plant that had a 70% similarity to the original Futicarpus. In 2015, they had actually invented test seeds, and they managed to plant these seeds. These seeds actually gave about the original Futicarpus, almost similar to the original Futicarpus, but still there were some deviations from it. They cultivated the plant, but the amount of fiber they got from the plant was not enough to make a Dhaka Muslim fabric. So they actually had to combine it with the ordinary cotton. So they made a sort of a hybrid of the Dhaka Muslim fabric. The team also had approached 25 weavers who still follow the Hamdani weaving method, and they asked them to make the fabric. But most of them were very recluant, and they refused to make the fabric because the team wanted a fabric that had a 300 thread count. Nowadays, we're making fabrics with 40 to 80 thread count. So asking the weavers to make a 300 thread count, it was not possible for them. At last, a weaver called Al Amin, he agreed to make the fabric, and the team Bengal Muslim, the team actually provided him with all the tools and required machinery. They even provided him with humid condition makers and temperature control equipment so that he can make his workshop into the humid condition that it is required to make this fabric. They even recreated 50 of the lost tools that was used during that time to make the fabric. Right now, they managed to make saris and many other gowns using this fabric, and it has been sold for thousands of pounds and even put in certain exhibitions. Saiful Islam's main objective is to actually recreate the original Dhaka Muslim. Even the Bangladeshi government is supporting the initiative to recreate this fabric. Saiful Islam says that it's not just a way of gaining money for them, but it's a way of honoring their country's prestige. Bangladesh is actually known as a poor country with a lot of textile manufacturers. But Saiful Islam wants to recreate that image and create the image of a country where the finest textile is being made. That is all about my topic. Thank you.
Really, really fantastic presentation.